What's going on, guys? It's the Flying Dutchman here, and in today's video, it's gonna be a story time. So, if you guys watch Hidden Hollow, which you should, Hidden Hollow Lofts, go check him out. He does this thing on his channel called Tales from the Loft, and that's just, he tells a story. He just sits down and tells a story about something, either something that happened to him or just something that he wants his viewers to hear about. It's pretty entertaining, and I figured I'd do something similar, so I hope he doesn't mind. But we're gonna call it Story Time, the Flying Dutchman, or the Flying Dutchman Story Time. Okay, so the first story. All right, I'm only gonna do one story a day, or maybe not a day, maybe a couple stories a week. Who knows? Who knows? But this first story is about the time I had 2 magpies as a pet. So, for those of you who don't know, a magpie is in the crow family. It's kind of like a crow, except it's white and black. Okay, it's got white and then it's got a super long tail. And they're a trash bird, what we call a trash bird, because they go to the city dump and they're really just opportunistic, and they'll eat basically anything that they can get their hands on, edible. So, anyway, when I was in about 8th grade, I saw some magpies, 2 of them, go into this tree right here. Not the one that fell down. I actually have that on video when it fell down. It's like a long time ago. So let's take a look here. Get out of here, rooster. Or as Terry will say, dunghill rooster. So you could see how this has been like stepped on, right? Or rubbed, if you know anything. Oh, well, it's gone now. But right in that V right there was a nest. And I would crawl up all the way up there, and I would look at these babies as they were growing, and I like was seeing what they kept going in that tree for, and then I found out they had a nest up there. And I think magpies are a pretty bird, and they're cool, and they're smart, super smart. In fact, corvids, the family of the crow family, basically, is basically smarter than a chimpanzee. Chimpanzees are also our closest relative. And we'll talk about corvids in another video. Corvid intelligence, it's a whole slew. I could go on about it forever. I'm big into ornithology, for those of you who don't know. Anyway, corvids, they're super smart, alright? And then, so I took and I waited till they were about, I think, 8 weeks or something like that. And then I reached in that tree and I grabbed them, okay? And they grow pretty similar to how pigeons grow. And so I grabbed them as like a squeaker or a squab, like something like the ground dwellers, the ones that don't know how to fly yet. And I grabbed them like that, okay? Then what I did is, don't do this at home, guys. Do not steal baby birds out of a nest. I do not condone that. But what I did, and I actually have a picture of them, and so I will, I'll put them, actually I'll just have them as the thumbnail. Anyway, so I took and I put some chicken pellets, layer pellets, and then I busted them up, okay, and then I took some dog food, and I took that dog food and I mixed it with warm water, and then I put it in the microwave, and then I had this mush, and then I mixed the two. I had this mush, okay, and this mush I would put in a big syringe, and I would whistle, same way I whistle for my, you know what, I'm just walking around in circles. This can't be entertaining. I want you guys to at least see something. Anyway, so Where can I put my tea? There we go. Look at that. That's a natural tea holder. Okay. So anyway. Oh, look at that. That's so cute. They're hungry. Anyway. So, I took a syringe, a big syringe, and I would whistle. And then these birds got to the point where they would know it was time to eat. Same with the pigeons. So, basically, I did that, okay, and it worked really well. They grew to adults, and I had them in. Just want you guys to see the homers how they're doing. I took out their water because these guys crap on it, and then or crap in it, I should say, and then I don't want to spread diseases if there's any in my loft, so I don't mess with that, so I dump it out. Anyway, so I took them and I had them in this is where they lived, and they grew to adult size. I'll tell you what I kept them in, show you. That right there. You might have seen it before. I had the owls in it. Kept it right there, okay? Anyway, so I kept two. There was a male and female. The female was called Maggie, and the male was called Bayoden. It meant crow in Russia, or in Russian, I mean. Or it's not Russia, it's actually I think it's like Yugoslavia or something weird like that. Anyway, it meant crow. So, these guys grew to adults, okay? And they were, I mean, gorgeous magpies. Gorgeous. And every day, I'd let them both out, and each one would land on this shoulder, the other one on that one. And I was a man. I mean, these magpies were like my pride and joy. They were my pigeons in 8th grade. They were my everything. I went home. I got ADD, so that's no joke. But actually, I would be at school and just think nothing about school and only think about my birds. And that's pretty much what happens now. Nothing's really changed. But now it's kind of my goats as well. Speaking of which, let's go see those guys. Anyway, so, yeah, I was like just in love with these guys, okay? Well then, one day, I got home from school, and I walked into the shed, and their heads were ate off. Both of them were dead. Their heads were ate off. Not Adolf. Freaking Nazis. Anyway, heads were ate off. Munched. And there was feathers everywhere, and their wings were broke apart. Okay? So for those of you who don't know, hey baby, come here. Hey baby. Oh yeah. Oh. I love this little girl. She's such a cute girl. And then he's still spooky. Finnegan and Willow. I love these guys. Anyway. So, their heads were ate off, okay? And there was feathers everywhere, and their wings were also broke off. They weren't eaten, but they were, like, off. And I don't know if you guys couldn't really tell, but that cage's wires were no more than about an inch. Yeah, I would say an inch, maybe an inch and a quarter thick, okay? So, nothing big can get in there, alright? Well, what we found out is that a weasel had got in and then ate everything it wanted. Didn't even touch the breast. So then what did we do? I'll tell you how we found this out. What we did is we took the breast and we split it open, and then we put it in a small trap with holes like that. I mean, super small. It was for squirrels. And sure enough, The next morning, we got him. We got a weasel. And this, I was heartbroken. I mean, these guys were like my friends. They were like my everything, you guys. And I liked peacocks, and my dad said, you know, we can't have peacocks because we wanted to let them roam, okay? And we wanted to let them roam, and that couldn't happen. You can't just let peacocks roam without a roost. Otherwise, they'll roost on neighbors' houses, on trucks, on sheds, on, you know, we didn't have the lofts or this. We had this shed. That's all we had. Actually, we had this shed. Okay. Oh, speaking of which, let's check for eggs. We had this shed, and then I'll show you my compost pile. I cleaned this thing out. Here, let's see. Clean this thing out. Oh, they're crapping in that one. Alright, so clean that out. I left this one empty so they could crap in that one. Left this one or kind of filled it up so they could lay in it, but turns out that's a crapping one too. And then we got an egg. So I will collect your thank you for your egg. Thank you. Look at that. That's a weird egg. It's like they're not getting enough calcium or something. Anyway, that happens. She's an old bird. She's got to be, shoot, 7 years old. At least. She survived 2 attacks. One was our dog that we got rid of like 4 years ago. And the other one was from a coyote. We literally lost so many chickens. I'm getting sidetracked. So we caught this weasel, and I was heartbroken. And my dad was like, yeah, I had always wanted peacocks. And my dad met this old lady. Her name was Lee. Okay, Lee became my best friend for a long time. Lee was like, called her every day. Hey Lee, what are you doing? You know, you got to think. I was like in 8th grade. Okay, so I mean, every day I would call Lee and this old lady, and I would just talk, and we'd talk for hours. Old people like to talk sometimes. You know that. That's my friend, one of my best friends, Steve's, and then Steve likes to talk a lot. The guy I get my pigeons from, and Lee loved to talk a lot. She has since passed, so, you know, rest in peace, Lee. But anyway, she says, I tell you what, I'll give you 2 peacocks, okay? Just give them to you. But you gotta have an aviary. And she didn't let her peacocks run loose. She had over like 200 peacocks and sold like 2,000 a year. Because she would like, I don't know, she had stock breeding. And that's what she did. She made bank off of this. So she would actually sell peacocks to people, okay? And we'll go and check out these peacocks. Anyway, so this video has given me so many good ideas that I could do for this channel. So many different stories about like how I went through like 20 I don't know, it's got to be a lot more than that. So many chickens, you guys. We've gone through so many. So this is the son of our first 2 peacocks, okay? This is a black shoulder Indian blue cross. Now, one thing cool about him, look at how, see with his dad, basically where the white on his dad was replaced by black. That's all that happened with this pair. You see the white on the okay, let me finish. So, my dad, being the cool guy that he is, he went and bought some netting material, and he bought this, and this was all his idea. He made this. These are screwed in right at the bases, okay? And we literally got up on ladders and then pushed this thing into its shape. It was the weirdest thing. I don't know how to describe it, but this thing needs some reinforcement. Look at that. It's bowing. Terry would be disgusted at me right now. Anyway, so he built this aviary, okay? for peacocks. And we've since kept quail, chucker, pheasants. The turkeys, actually, they were free-range turkeys, but we still produced enough to actually let the fish and game, like the fish and game took our turkeys. I've told that story. That's a long story. I wasn't really alive exactly. But anyway, so we've kept so many animals in here. But this was built for peacocks, okay? And, yeah, it's a nice little aviary. There's plenty of room. I'll show you. It's probably 30 yards long. It's a nice aviary, really nice. So roomy. I mean, you could keep a lot of animals in here if you wanted to, but we keep 5 cocks in here. So that's the son, okay, and the mom is this one. She's a black shoulder, and then the dad is an Indian blue, okay? And yeah, you see that gray on him? That's because, well, that's because he's an Indian blue, but the baby, this is a Indian blue black shoulder as well, I believe. Or that might be the mom of that one, and that might be the mom of that one. I'm not entirely sure, but that's the dad either way. This baby is just getting old enough. We'll probably pair him with this one right here. Anyway, so yeah, peacocks, that's how they came about. So the 2 magpies, Maggie and Bayoden, they actually are the reasons we have peacocks. And yeah, it's been a good thing. I love the peacocks. Not as much as I love my goats and my pigeons, but at one point I did. At one point these were my everything, and they still, they're still part of the Flying Dutchman loft, farm, homestead, whatever you want to call it. I don't know, it's not really a homestead, but hey, we could call it a homestead if you want. I don't care. But yeah, so that's how we got, well, shoot. Really? Gross. Anyway. So that's how that came about. And that is how we have peacocks. And yeah, so that is the story. I'm getting so sidetracked. I had something to say, but then I forgot it. Okay, anyway. So that is the story of how I had 2 magpies as a pet. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Give me some video ideas if you got any. Similar to this, I don't know. I've already done how I got started in birds, but if you have any questions that you want me to answer, the next video, probably, well, I'm not flying any of the birds today because, as you can see, it's rainy and it's too cold to let those babies be on their own. So, that's it for today. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, check out Hidden Hollow because this was his kind of his idea. He didn't even say it was okay for me to do it. I'm kind of copying, but you know what? I don't think he'll mind. After all, my birds are quicker than his anyway. So, make sure you guys like, subscribe, comment, check out Popel's Pigeons, Ham's Flight Kit Box, Ethan's Loft, and Skywatchers. So, that's it for today. Make sure you guys, yeah, what the heck? Okay, why do I keep saying that? Keep flying, guys. Flying Dutchman out.